we are back for another episode of Minds of Mayhem Wrestling Podcast.
Yes,
So
sir.
far, it's been a good review so far. So our first video actually got what, I think like 25 views?
25 so far. Hopefully we get the numbers up, but y'all gotta like, comment, and subscribe these joints.
Definitely. And it's like I said, we're gonna keep trying to do this. And next week we're gonna have our first guest.
Oh,
So,
oh, all right.
so like I said, I'm gonna speak to him. And well, bro, you gonna probably know his guest anyway because he's a close friend of ours.
Shit.
Let's just say, still school.
Oh, we finna cut up.
Yes, we are. We are. Well, like I said, this is a new edition of the new episode of Minds of Mayhem podcast. So, as we know, we just had Backlash this past Saturday, which was a great show.
hmm
We're gonna give our recaps to that, me and him. Then we're gonna also. It's been a blunder of people saying Cody Rhodes' title reign has been a flop. I don't agree. I don't agree
Mm.
with that, but we'll give our take on that because it's kind of weird for people to say it's a flop, and it's only been a month.
Only, but not even a month. Probably like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
Also, then we gonna talk about what's going on in AEW because the video that they had shown of CM Punk and Jack Perry
hmm
basically going blow for blow. Well, actually, it's more of CM Punk going for blows. Jack Perry just stood there like a
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So, but the funny thing is that video is actually helping them out, which is insane for me to say. I'm not saying an AEW hater, but it's just that, like I said, I critique both shows. That video did not
hmm
need to be shown at all.
Right.
And also, with the dawn of the new documentary, The Dying Days of WCW coming out, we figured that me and him will talk about what happened at that time of WCW. Like we give
And I'm a
our own.
WCW fan. I'm WCW to the day I die, but it's a lot that I can give my expert analysis on, but that man,
I can
whew,
say the same thing too. I mean, I'm a WCW guy. I'm a fan of Sting and Goldberg. Those are my two
hmm
guys. I say the most underrated person from there is DDP, even though he was the oldest
yeah,
at the time. He's the oldest performer, but he was a great wrestler. But we're gonna give
yeah.
our take.
Fun fact, people. This guy, this co-host has been to a WCW show. I haven't. So yeah, I'm a bit jealous, but we're gonna
That was literally like a out of nowhere ticket thing, and my dad had got it. I don't know how he got it. To be honest with
bro, lucky bastard. That's all I'm gonna say.
you. But yeah, we're gonna give our takes on that. But let's get started with the first topic.
hmm
Backlash was fire. The
Yo,
the
yo,
fans,
yo.
the fans made this show watchable, made it fun.
hmm
It's like the USA fans are getting like basically like saying we gotta get step our game up because that display of them fans going crazy for every wrestler coming out, whether they
hmm
booed you, whether they cheered you, or whatever.
hmm
It's like, man, we got a good thing going on here with this overseas wrestling. Because think about it, each pay per view they got until SummerSlam, I believe, each of them is not in the states.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause I know Queen and King of the Ring is in Saudi.
hmm
They supposed to do a show in Berlin, if I'm not mistaken. They're
Yep,
doing a show in Clash of the Castle.
yep.
I think, and that's it. Oh yeah, Money in
Yeah,
the Bank supposed to be in Toronto.
exactly. So there,
That's basically crossing that. That's basically crossing the border, basically.
yeah, pretty much. And that goes to show that when we talked about the Triple H era, this goes to show that he's like really taking the scope of WWE into like territories that we haven't been in like a long time. Because if you think about it, the European crowds, of course, they got their soccer over there. They like soccer heads. all
Oh
across
yeah.
the board.
Well,
It,
anything besides the U.S. is always going.
mhm.
They're soccer heads, so it's like that's the
Yeah, so imagine like the next couple of shows that they have lined up over in different countries.
mhm.
Fire reactions. We talking about sports heads from all across the board. It, each show is going to be like the craziest, and and for us here in America, we definitely got to step our game up because that's our home sport. You know?
Well, this is the thing. Pro wrestling overall, it's an all world thing.
Yeah, it
Think
is.
about it, but
It
it's
is.
like the European fans and everything, or the especially the Japanese and Chinese fans.
Yep.
They like they all well, the Japanese and Chinese fans. They're quiet during the wrestling matches. They just clap.
Yeah,
The European fans, they are into the show. They're singing the songs.
they go
They're
crazy.
like literally. They was saying that at that event they had the Apple Watches was going off
Hmm.
because of the noise level, and it's like man,
Hmm.
and mind you, that place they was at wasn't like a big place.
No,
It wasn't like like a stadium. It was more like an arena.
and that's what I think that's what I liked about Backlash is that they didn't go too hard as far as um the crowd attendance. They didn't, go all out in the stadium, which I think would have been great for like the European fans, but for pay-per-views like Backlash, pay-per-views like Money in the Bank, or let's just give a random like NXT Stand and Delivers. They don't have to be in stadiums, but if you put them in like a good arena, who knows what the outcome would be as far as the crowd interactions.
I want to talk. I want to hit on that because um, you got to think about it. Their core four pay per views are WrestleMania,
Hmm.
Royal Rumble,
Hmm.
SummerSlam, Survivor Series. Those are the top four. Then the other ones they got during the year, like like a Money in the Bank, Backlash, King and Queen of the Ring, or
Hmm.
Night of Champions. Basically,
Yep.
all that is like there's it's like they're good pay per views, but the core four, those are the ones that will be like stadium quality matches.
Hmm.
Because Royal Rumble was in Tampa, Florida this year.
Hmm.
Of course, Mania was in Philly this year.
Yep.
SummerSlam's gonna be in Cleveland. It's gonna be
Hmm.
the Cleveland Browns stadium.
Yeah.
They didn't announce Survivor Series yet.
Right. Yeah.
Cause
I think
last year they
Survivor. Yeah. Yeah.
cause
Yeah.
last year
Survivor
cause
Series.
last year they was in Chicago's the All State was it the All State Arena I think
Yeah.
the night CM Punk returned. So that
Hmm.
was a big and like I said the way they have the stage set up now for the shows is even better because when
Hmm.
you get more ticket sales,
Yep.
you get more people in the building, and it's like I mean, granted, we don't need an extravagant big ring until Mania.
Mm.
And maybe the Saudi shows possibly because Saudi shows they got a lot of room to do like a big stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like the like Royal Rumble doesn't need a big one, nor does SummerSlam. But they'll probably give them a nice size one, but nothing crazy. Like I said, their like entrance ways is like smaller now than like because they're not doing like the big extravagant stages anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like at the same time though, I mean, Grant, like I said, to your point, the outside of the big four pay-per-views that we get as far as WWE is concerned, we don't really need like the extravagant stages. But I think at the same time, um, I felt like Backlash gave that stadium feel because of where they were at in France. And like I said, it wasn't needed, but it gave that feel. The same thing, and I think the only time we would get like the big extravagant um, setups would be WrestleMania and SummerSlam, considering that SummerSlam is, as they used to say, the biggest party of the summer. And I think for that, we should only get like extravagant, stages for WrestleMania, the Saudi Arabia shows, of course, Clash at the Castle, if that, and SummerSlam. But that's about it. And like I said, depending on where they have these shows at, it gives that big stadium feel. And for them to have that show in France, you would not expect those fans to go ape shit the way they did for everybody on the card. And that was and to me, I think outside other than the one they had last year in Puerto Rico, Backlash
Yeah,
is right up there. I'm telling you, as far as crowd reaction, Backlash is starting to become bigger and bigger if they keep doing like if they keep scheduling these shows in like the different countries for Backlash alone. If they keep doing that, Backlash is going to be up there with the Manias, the Summer Slams, and the Survivor Series and all of
it can be. The thing
that.
is, though, when it comes down to Backlash, it's this. It's basically the start of a new season.
Hmm.
That's really, really,
Absolutely.
really is. Granted,
Absolutely.
we had the draft,
Hmm.
which is like I know everybody was complaining about the draft this year because it was like it wasn't like how it used to be. Because yeah, I remember something. They made the rules. They made the rules different now. The champions are not supposed to be drafted now. But yeah, I remember something back in the day. They had champions for like up for the draft. But now
Yeah.
it's like once you're a champion on that show, you're basically excluded from being drafted, whether you're
Hmm.
on Raw, SmackDown, or NXT.
Yeah.
But let's get back to Backlash. Like I said, Backlash is more of the new season of everything going on.
Hmm.
And like you said, the reaction that every person got, I think the only people that got booed that night was the Bloodline. That's it.
That's about it.
Everybody else was getting cheered for, or they were singing their song. They sung
Hmm.
Cody Rhodes' whole song.
Hmm.
The way it interested. Then you got Jay coming out from the fans doing the whole yeet thing and everything, which is dope.
That was awesome. That was
Then
awesome.
we of course we had KO and Orton come out and they were singing Orton songs too.
Hmm.
Naomi's entrance was dope too.
Yeah.
It was like a whole rave with her entrance. Let's get to some of these matches. Let's talk about some of these matches.
Yeah.
First match on the card was tag team match of the Bloodline, which consists of Solo and Tamatonga versus KO. Well, let me just say this versus Rated R. I wouldn't say rated. Let me just say this: they're basically known as RKO. In
Yeah.
other words, it's Randy Orton and Kevin Owens together, but they just got it as RKO. They shirts. I think
Yeah.
it's a one-time shirt thing, or it could sell. Who knows?
Who knows?
But yeah. So the match over, like I said, first off, it started as just a brawl, and they put referees to just separate them. Of course, and then we bring out Nick Aldis. He comes out to basically
Hmm.
break it up and say, you know what, the hell with it. Let's just have a good old street fight. And the
Good
fight,
call.
and it was a very good call on his part.
Yeah.
And the best thing about it is we had it was a good match. Like there was no like botches or anything. It was like it was clean. It was something that we need to start off with, like to get start off with.
Hmm.
And this was Tama's first WWE match.
Yeah.
Cause we know Tama, he's been over in Japan basically his entire career. He's
Yeah.
been
Straight
over,
killing the game. Killing the
yes,
game.
and the thing is, he's been in like places like ROH and Impact Wrestling, but he's
Yep.
mostly known for, of course, his start in Japan when he was originally the core four of the Bullet Club.
Hmm.
Because the core four was Tama, Finn, Carl Anderson, and Big Bad Luck Fale.
Yeah.
Those are the core four. Every year, since then it's been like, a rendition of a member coming into the group.
Hmm.
But yeah, Thomas had a good showing for the match. Like he took most of the punishment, though. I say that
That man.
that man was
If
getting
y'all
kendo
want to
sticks to the
quit,
back.
listen. Y'all do not have to question the toughness of the Samoan. They will take punishment for days.
That's the entire
Unbelievable.
family. Yeah, think about.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, think about. Remember who Thomas' dad is? Haku. Haku was one of the toughest wrestlers out there. The simple fact, this is the same man that literally fought Goldberg in WCW and was like, both of them were just basically like, going stiff.
We'll
It's
we'll talk
like,
about that. We'll talk about that.
it was like, man. Cause,
My God.
but overall, the match it delivered. It basically showed that, like I said, now Roman out the picture for a little bit.
Hmm.
We can see how rangy this story with the bloodline going to go.
Yeah.
And just when we thought KO and Randy was going to win, we get outside interference. Now, mind you, it was rumors about Jacob Fatu possibly debuting this past Saturday.
Hmm.
We was thinking it was going to be him, but come to find out, it wasn't him. It was Tama Tonga's brother, Tonga Loa, who we made known as Camacho when he was Hunico back in the day,
In
which is
fact, and
still,
when I first found that out, I didn't know it was him. He looked so much different.
yeah, they had him as a Mexican.
Yeah, he
He's
looked much
Samoan.
different. That's crazy.
That's Vince for you. Let's just say
Yeah,
that.
that's
but
Vince for you.
but yeah, when he came out, we like, hold up, that's not Jacob. That's that's Tonga. And if we
Mm,
know from New
mm,
Japan,
mm.
we know Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa are a badass tag team. They are known as God Gorillas of Destiny. They arguably are the craziest tag team in Japan.
Mm.
When I tell you, I was thinking about the matches they can have in the tag team division. It's the one match we all want, but we want to probably get it later. It's God versus the Usos.
Mm.
That's the one
Mm.
match I think everybody is going to want. Because it's like, yeah, think about it.
Mm.
We're going to be in the Civil War soon again.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
But now the question ponders now: where does Jacob fit into this?
That's going to be the question.
Because like I said, now with Jimmy actually on the shelf in real life, he's actually hurt.
Yeah.
So it's like I think he'll be back in time for SummerSlam or anything.
Hmm.
Roman, he has his stuff going on with him, and he's gonna be out for a little bit. He'll be back though soon.
Yeah.
And Jay's on Raw doing his thing.
Mm. Yeah, that's true.
And then we saw a little clip of Jay. He was back there getting himself ready for the match. We see Solo, Tama, and Tunga walk up to him, just like getting the look and just let him know that we here. And then you see
Hmm.
Paul look at them like, "Yo, please don't get involved with this. I beg of you, please don't get involved." Or he basically trying to ask Jay to come save him. Because Paul is like, he's just there, I think. Because you think about it, everything that Solo is doing right now is probably not a plan with Roman in it. Because Roman probably not doing all this. And like Paul just said this past Friday, he said he hasn't spoken to Roman since after Mania.
Yeah.
So it's like we don't know what's going on. But so how did you feel about Tungaloa being that spot?
I mean, for me personally, I like you were saying, we expected Jacob Fatu, and I think it was pretty smart on WWE's part to not bring in Jacob Fatu because that's given um too much of a giveaway for the rest of the story, and pulling the trigger on him too soon. But it's very interesting to me because now as you were giving your opinions on it, it had me thinking like, what if what if Roman himself comes back to this form of the bloodline?
Hmm.
Because it like if we think about like the history that you just gave as far as God versus the Usos, God as tag team champions is going to be crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
Is going to be crazy. Then you got Solo. Solo's. nine times out of ten they're going to put a singles title on him anyway. And then you have Roman come back and remind you Roman is owed a rematch. So if Roman comes back to this form of the bloodline, there's no stopping them at all.
Yeah, that is true. Thing is though, with like you said with that, yeah, think about it. Roman came out with the biggest loss of his career, and remember what Paul said, after the after the on that SmackDown that after the after Mania,
Hmm.
he said wins and losses matter.
They do. They
Yeah,
do.
think about it. Roman after almost 1,400 days, damn near, was
Hmm.
not pinned until he got to that tag team match against the Usos. He was not ever pinned single. He had his
That is
first
true.
loss in almost 4 years as a single competitor.
That is true.
So when Solo heard the term wins and losses matter, right?
Hmm.
Solo going, like I said, Solo going to take it upon himself to make sure that he's like, the head of everything. Cause think about it, even when, cause he, plus also remember when Roman basically said, "When I'm done and gone, the next head of the table is Solo."
He did. Yeah, he definitely did say
He
that.
did say that. Now,
He
granted,
did say that.
if Roman comes back, Roman's gonna come at wondering what's going on. I didn't authorize this.
Right.
He's gonna pull that card. But then, like I
Hmm.
said, this whole thing is gonna cause a bigger of a civil war between them. Cause like I said, this all this really helps out is like certain pieces of the bloodline. Like for instance, since this story has done, we have seen Jay become a big star on Raw.
Hmm.
We have seen Sami Zayn become a champion again,
Hmm.
and as an IC champion. We have seen Jimmy try to branch out his own thing. Like I said, he's still gonna keep building up.
Right.
And now we're seeing Solo as a dominant boss a little bit now in his whole thing.
Hmm.
Because Solo has been quiet since he beat John Cena. Well, since he buried John Cena at Night of Champions, he's been quiet.
Right.
So it's like so for them to build up Solo right now with this situation where he's basically like telling like, look, I didn't have any situations. I'm still here. I'm still, a dangerous force.
Hmm.
He's probably looking at Roman and Jimmy as saying, y'all lost your matches. I didn't have a match. I'm good.
Right.
And you can see how he was in the match between Cody and Roman, because when they were trying to beat Cody, you notice Cody kept kicking out, and Solo was getting pissed off. He kept yelling at Roman like, finish it."
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
like I said, with Solo now, is I guess quote unquote, we don't. To be honest with you, we do not know who is the tribal chief right now.
Right.
Us as as the fans watching it, of course we say it's Roman Reigns still, but for like right now, we don't know what's going on because Roman's off TV for a little bit.
Hmm.
As soon as we find out he's going to make his return, it's going to be must watch.
Absolutely.
But like I
Absolutely.
said, but like we were saying, I like how they did a little curve on us because everybody thought it was going to be Jacob, but instead we get Tom Malunga. I said Tom Malunga, what the hell?
Listen,
It's
all their names are tongue twisters anyway. They got it.
it's Tungalawa, something like that. I just said his name. that is that's sad. That is sad.
Oh man. Oh
The
man.
man known as Camacho. Let's just say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Camacho. Camacho came back.
Tungaloa. Tungaloa. There we go. That's his name. Tungaloa.
But
Let's just hope we'll never mention his name again ever again. Because I'm
but
gonna botch it
yeah,
again.
like I said, for me, I just I love this whole thing, like this whole bloodline story and how it's going and where it's going. It's just what because even with Roman losing at WrestleMania, we always thought, is this the end of the bloodline story? And of course, every single year, the bloodline story gets better and better and better and better. And it's like it's not going to end anytime soon.
Cinema. That's all it is cinema.
Hmm.
But the thing about it is, though, um, we as the fans, we want this stuff to be like great for us. And like I said, it's good. They're not gonna spoil nothing. Cause we got
Hmm.
these, we have sites now that'll tell us who's coming back or who's supposed to be debuting or who signed where. Which is like okay, like I said, if you want to like know what's going on, you want to know if your favorite stars come to your favorite company or if they're
Hmm.
going to somewhere to get signed. Okay, you can follow it. But
Right.
like I said, for them to curve us and have Tungaloa debut instead of Jacob is big. Cause like, and then it was reports saying that when they did the contracts, they didn't just sign Tama. They
Hmm.
signed his brother as well to a contract. I didn't even know his contract was up in New Japan.
Yeah, them contracts is. Whew.
Well, with Japan, everything is different now because one of their best wrestlers in their like basically their in their brand, Tanahashi, he's the president now. So
Okay.
like I said, who knows? But yeah, let's get to another match. We're gonna talk about the women's triple threat match. All in all, like I said, the fans made the match fun.
Hmm.
It made the match was overall good. Like I said, it showed off like a lot of like the other superstars. And like, granted, I know everybody, wanted to see. Some people want to see Naomi win, or some people want to see Tiffany win.
Hmm.
Right? You can't take the belt off of Bailey that quick. It's too early. It's too early. And then on top of that, like I said, you're basically protecting Tiffany Stratton too, because you know she can take the pin.
Right.
It was Naomi,
Right.
which I hate. I do hate she's taking the pin. But like I said, Naomi is a pro. I think she'll be back on top soon.
Hmm.
Which is why I say maybe they should make a women's mid card title. But I think that'd be too much, to be honest with you.
Well, honestly, I would disagree with that only because if you peep NXT, they just started the
Oh
women's
yeah,
North
the
American.
North American, yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, listen, they say in WWE never say never.
that is
So,
true. I
um,
think they need. This is a point though. I think they can build off of not. I think with I remember Becky. She said recently that they can have feuds without titles. True.
yes, yes.
That is very true. That's actually not a bad idea. But for me, I think it'd be dope to have a women's mid card title, like a women's intercontinental title,
Hmm.
or or a women's United States title.
Hmm.
Like two of those will be great for the brands. Like I said, I think it's best. Like we'll see down the line what they're going to do. Because right now, like I said, they just going to have to keep building up these stars and have them like do matches and have rivalries without titles.
Hmm.
So we get to a triple threat match. Like I said, both of them. It was a good match. It was a lengthy match. Which, by the way, let's just talk about the card. 'Cause I think it was 5 matches on the card. Each match
Hmm.
had time.
Yes.
I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people was complaining about, oh, this match should have at least 6 or 7 matches on the card. I'm like, if we know for Triple H, if we know from his NXT days around the show, he has always had a 5 card match.
Yeah.
He never had at least 6 or 7 or anything like that. He always had 5. Each of those
Hmm.
matches had time,
Yeah.
depending on like how you want to book them and depending on how you want the match to go. But like I said, each match on this Backlash card had time,
Hmm.
especially the main event, which we'll get to in a few. But yeah, but like I said, triple threat match it had time. It told some stories. Like I said, Tiffany's going to be in this championship contendership for a little bit now. Cause like I said, she's a top heel in
Hmm.
SmackDown.
Hmm.
It's her, and then it's Nia. Of course, you got like I said, Nia Jackson. Yeah, Nia Jackson to worry about too in the division.
Hmm.
Because now, like I said, Bailey is now like, she don't have to worry about damage control anymore. They're on Raw now.
How about that?
Yeah, so like I said, but they're on Raw now, all four of them. Because
Hmm.
when they had, but we'll get to this situation in a minute with damage control because
Hmm.
we had two other matches, and the next match we had after the triple threat, it was the World Heavyweight Championship match between Jay and Damian Priest.
Hmm.
Match was great. Like I said, once again, the fans made the match fun. We had the fans doing the whole yeet thing.
Ye-
We had them, cheering back and forth between the two.
hmm.
And I think we both said it. I think we both talked about it. We both said Jay needs to develop more of a move set.
Yeah, because and I get it, and I get the whole, I get the whole thing coming out of the bloodline thing, and of course him doing the spear, which is kind of weird, you know.
It is, yeah, but it's effective for him.
It's effective for him, but I think for him, he even though he's on his own doing his single run, he still is viewed as the tag team guy, and it I think over the years we've seen tag team wrestlers become competitors, and their move sets are like completely limited based off of what they know. And thus far, for Jay Uso, it's like he's still finding his groove. Not to say that he didn't have one, but he's still finding that groove in the singles in the single spotlight. Now, as far as his move set, it could be polished up a little bit. I do want to see him um have more aerial offense as opposed to more grounded defense. And it's the same thing. In fact, the same thing you can say about Jay is the same thing you can say about Jimmy. Jimmy is not quite polished as a singles competitor himself. So it's like both those guys, you know, again, coming out of the tag team picture and transitioning into the singles, um, definitely have to differentiate each other's movesets because at WrestleMania we seen the craziest Samoan super kick party ever.
Oh yeah, it was counter super kicks. But my thing
Yeah,
about it with them as a tag team, I think it depends on what it is. Cause like I said, every tag team that has split, it do take time to get your own thing as a singles competitor. Because
exactly.
remember, think about it, Harlem Heat was a powerhouse tag team.
Right.
Once they broke up, well, I think at the time I think Stevie had got either hurt or whatever,
Hmm.
and Booker T became his own man, and Booker T was like what multiple time television champion.
Hmm.
Then of course him and Booker got back to the tag team again, and then they went separate
Hmm.
ways because Booker was on his own run, and
Hmm.
Stevie was on the NWO.
Exactly.
So like I said, it takes time for a tag team that came in as a tag team that's been a tag team even in the um reality of wrestling days, which is Booker T's wrestling. They've been a tag team since. So it's like,
Hmm.
it takes time. But I will say Jay's single run, it's been good. Like I say, he's
Hmm.
getting over he's getting over.
Yeah.
His merch sales is up. Like I said, it's going to be only a matter of time if they give him a title.
Yeah.
I honestly think they'll give him the IC title by at least by the middle of this year, at least.
Hmm.
By the middle of this year, I can see them giving him the IC title.
Yeah, and take it off of Sammy. Sure, I see that.
Not even. I think Sammy will lose the belt soon to probably somebody, but like I said, it's got to be a heel. You can't really have him beat Sammy because, like I said, him and Sammy has been like Yin and Yang is a tag as a cool friend. So it's like if anything, I can see them putting the IC title on Gable
Hmm.
maybe, and having him beat Gable at probably like at a SummerSlam, which would work. But like I said, we'll see how it goes down for Jay. But let's get back down to this match between Jay and Damien.
Hmm.
Like I said, the fans made the match fun, and Jay, like I said, he gave some offense. So then we started seeing, we started going down to like, the final like rundown of the match, where we see the human Funko Pop in JD McDonough comes out and is trying to help Damien. Damien has been saying, I think, for what 2 weeks now, I don't need your help. I'm
Right.
good. Stay in the
Right.
back. So that's when we get a super kick by Jay to Jay McDonough out off the stage, like off the
Hmm.
ring.
Hmm.
And then we get Finn, he comes out, and he try to get involved. He gets a super kick to the face or a punch.
Yeah.
That's when we like I said, it was back and forth a little bit between Jay and Damien. And next thing you know, Jay hit him with a spear, hit him with two splashes.
Hmm.
One of the splashes he could have had a 3 count until JD puts Priest's foot on the ropes, and it made the count stop. And then we had another version of the situation, but this time Jay got caught on top of the rope, and that's when we get a South of the Heaven off the top rope. One, two, three.
That
Damien
was
wins.
beautiful. That was beautiful.
Damien wins
Dangerous,
his
but beautiful.
yeah. Damien wins his first match as world champion, and then if you notice, we see a little turn at the end. I mean, not yet, but we see a glimpse of a future turn of Priest to face because look what happened after the match. They was trying to jump JD, and Finn. What
Hmm.
happened? Damien told him enough. It's over. Enough. He pushed JD down. JD was still on the ground. Then we see Finn trying to stop out Jay again. We see Damien basically treat him like a little kid and say, "Look, what did I say? Stop."
Hmm.
And then he's telling him, you stay there, you stay there. They pose and leave. It's
Yep.
basically showing that Damien is basically just saying, "I'm the leader of this. I run this. I had a championship. I run this." So it's like I said, it's planting seeds of the Judgment Day breaking. Not I wouldn't say break up, but it's like with Rhea on the shelf and Dominic. I think he's still hurt a little bit, but he'll be back soon. And like I
Hmm.
said, with his story now, you see, because you caught a glimpse of Raw on Monday, and you look in the background, you see Liv walk out the room. After Liv walks out the room, you see Dominic walks out the room. So it's like it's telling, like I said, it's telling something right there. The Judgment Day's days are numbered as a group, as a dominant thing on Raw.
Yeah.
So it's like we'll see how it turns out for that. Like I
Yeah.
said, it was a good match for both Jay and Damien. And it's good that, like I said, Damien, of course, is going to come out on top because, like I said, they're giving him the ball and he's going on with it.
Hmm.
Even though they call this man the bisexual Undertaker, but still, they're going to give him the ball and run with it.
We ain't gotta talk about that.
It's fun. It's really funny until they call him that. I'm like, what
uh,
possessed y'all to call that man the bisexual Undertaker?
I don't
But let's talk about these last 2 matches. The next
know.
match was the women's tag team championship match. The Kabuki Warriors versus Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. I mean, did we honestly? I mean, the match had time though. The match did have time.
Beautiful match. Beautiful.
The match did
Beautiful.
have time. Everybody thought it was gonna be a squash match. And I'm like, hmm.
Beautiful.
They gave him a lot of time, but you gotta think about it though. We really can't say it's a squash match because think about it.
Hmm.
Kyrie and Oscar are former single champions.
Yes.
Oscar's been Raw Women's Champion, SmackDown Women's Champion, the Women's WWE Champion. She's
Hmm.
been in it. She's the longest reigning NXT Women's Champion ever.
Yep.
She was undefeated NXT as Women's Champion. So it's like, yeah, put some respect in her name.
Oh, definitely.
Then with Kyrie, she's a former NXT Women's Champion, a numerous time WWE Women's Tag Team Champion. So they have credentials. So like I
Hmm.
said, it was good for them to give them that match, that long periods of time of fighting,
Hmm.
because like I said, they're still like bringing Jade along because this match was the longest match she ever had since her AEW run.
How about that?
It's like this match actually gave her range because in AEW, her matches would last about like what 10, 15 minutes.
If
This
that.
match on this match just passed on I think probably lesser than that. Could be lesser than that. This
Yeah.
past this Saturday they had more than 15 minutes to fight. They did more. And of course the outcome of the match we see Bianca and Jade as the new women's tag team champions.
Hmm.
Which means they can travel to both shows. They can travel to Raw, they can travel to SmackDown, they can also travel to NXT if they want to.
Yes, they can. Yes, they can.
So there's that. And like I said, it's good they paired up Jade and Bianca because Bianca can guide Jade right now. Because Jade right now by herself is not kind of ready yet.
Right.
'Cause like I said, AEW that was her basically her rookie start.
Hmm.
Now she's in the big leagues now, so it's like you gotta like go for it. And like I said, it's gonna take time for her. Give her as much time she needs because she's gonna be a big star down the line.
Hmm.
And she's not, and she's only I think she's only what 34, 32, or she could be younger than that. I could be wrong.
I think she might be just hitting her 30s, if I'm not mistaken.
Possible. Cause like I
Yeah.
said, cause in AEW she was young, so it's
Hmm.
like yeah. I think about it. She came from being a D1 basketball player.
I never knew that.
Well, yeah. Well, at the time, why do you think she was paired up with Shaq for her first match?
Well, that explains it. That would make
Because she
sense.
was because I saw her highlight, she was a baller.
I got, yeah, I got to
If she
watch them
didn't
highlights.
if she didn't do the wrestling thing, she could have been in WNBA possibly. But like I said, we're happy to have her wrestling though, which is good for us. Like I said, she's a
Right.
talent. She's going to be a big thing in WWE for years to come.
Hmm.
But like I said, the match had time. Like I said, I'm happy it wasn't a squash.
Thank God.
Although I thought it was going to be a squash, but like I said, I think both of us can agree that we knew Bianca and Jay was gonna win this, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think uh to go back to the last episode, it's good that she's starting off with the tag team titles because with AEW they just threw her to the wolves and she got championship gold off the rip, and they gave her what the longest reigning TBS championship reign.
Yeah.
And so with that, I mean, although at the time, well, let me not say at the time, but AEW is still a young company. So it's like they were still, building up their
Oh yeah.
superstars on their roster. So it's not completely all their fault that they dropped the ball on Jade Cargill. Now, however, she came over to WWE. Let me just say, I've watched majority of Jade Cargill's matches, and not once have I ever seen her do a springboard perfectly.
That is true. She had. I'm about to say because when she did the springboard, I'm like, wait a minute, I never seen her do a springboard.
That shows that WWE knows how to mold their superstars to get them
Well,
outside their comfort zone in order to bring something new to the table.
we got to think about it too. They have a developmental. They got basically they got a gym in Florida that'll help you
Yeah,
prepare yourself. They got classes. They got trainers for this. So
yeah,
where
absolutely.
AEW, they had. I mean, don't get me wrong. They have wrestlers that can teach you some stuff, but they don't have a performance center like the WWE has.
Right.
To where now, at the time, AEW Performance Center was the Nightmare Academy that Cody had. He had his own
Hmm.
wrestling academy. But now, like I said, now that he's on, he's on the east
Yeah,
side. Now,
right.
granted, his brother I think still runs the gym, Dustin.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's like they can still do something with that. But like you just said, WWE is known best for making superstars in the ring. Not every
hmm,
superstar makes it, but some do.
yeah.
Like you can have all the like the look in the world for it. You gotta work for it.
That's true.
Cause I know well we know Gable Stevens he just got released recently, so we thought he was gonna be the
That
next big.
shocked me. That shocked me.
It didn't shock me because one, it took too long for him to debut.
Right, that is true.
Two, he can't talk on the mic at all. He's not no. They try to dub him as the next Kurt Angle. That's where they messed up at. That's exactly where they messed up at. They dubbed him the next Kurt Angle. Cause you remember, I think it was what in 2022 or 2021. Him
Hmm.
and the other girl there's another Olympian wrestler that was on the show.
I know who you're talking about.
She, yeah, she's in NXT right now. She's basically going through the whole
Hmm.
stages of building her character up, which is good for her.
Yeah.
Cause at least cause I've seen her the way she acts. She has more of a charisma than Gable has.
Hmm.
So I think she'll be okay. But but like you said, her doing the springboard was something different we haven't seen she done.
Right.
So it's good. Like I said, we both knew that Jay Bianca was gonna win these belts. I just like the fact that they made the match a little bit longer than it was supposed to be. But let's get to the last match. So we're gonna talk about the main event, which was Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship, which is good to say again instead of saying Universal.
Hell yeah.
Overall, like I said, once again, the crowd made the match fun.
It felt like an actual main event.
It felt like an action main event. We got chants of AJ Styles being phenomenal. We got the whole song by the French crowd of Cody's song. We got a lot of stuff in that match. Cause cause one of the topics we were talking about, I'm gonna integrate into this we're talking about now.
Okay.
One of the topics we were talking about, we just said we are gonna talk about was is Cody Rhodes title reign a flop?
Mm.
After this match he just had this past Saturday, it's not a flop.
No,
I
not
know
at all.
everybody. I know everybody was talking about why did he fight AJ Styles so quickly? It should have been built. I'm like, one, we just had the draft.
Hmm.
Two, he just won the belt. All honestly, he need and it. I know somebody recently was talking about it should have been Solo. I'm like, why Solo?
Yeah. Yeah.
Solo don't need to be in the title picture yet. Let him build up.
Hmm.
They're talking about Cody's going. They say they booking it wrong. Cody's not going to be. He's not the right person for it. I'm like, this is the problem I think I have with a lot of people that's dealing with the Cody situation.
Hmm.
They're used to Roman having that belt. That's the problem. When Roman wins that Mania for the past 3 years, well, actually 4 years, you want to be honest. He
Yeah.
wins the past Manias. You notice like we always have that like have to wait until like a few months to have Roman back to defend his title.
Right.
And I think
Right.
a lot of fans are kind of like indifferent now because one, we have a champion that's going to be at every review now,
Hmm.
and Cody.
Yeah.
To where Roman, like I said, Roman will be off after WrestleMania. He'd be like, doing his therapy, doing this thing.
Hmm.
So it's like now, but Cody as champion, we get a champion that's going to be there every PLE. We're going to get a
Hmm.
champion that's going to defend his title, whether he has a story or not.
Right.
But like I said, with the AJ Styles situation, they did right with the story between him and AJ Styles. It's basically telling the story of two Georgia boys fighting each other. And honestly, now we can say AJ Styles has fought both Roses. He has fought Dusty Rose in TNA.
He did. He
And he has
did.
now fought Cody Rhodes in WWE. He has fought both Roses.
Hmm.
But other than that, like I said, I know a lot of people will say the title reign is a flop. I'm like, it can't be a flop yet. He's putting on quality matches. But I think everybody got so stuck with the story, the cinema stuff, they want that nonstop. But you're not going to get that off the bat.
Right.
Because after WrestleMania, it was going to be a reset either way. Whether
Hmm.
we like it or not, it was going to be a reset. And the matches that we're going to get was we're going to get.
Right.
And for people to say, "Oh, he should be fighting AJ," why he's fighting AJ? I'm like, AJ's a former two-time WWE champion, a former IC champion, a former United States champion, a former tag team champion. The man has a good credential list. For him
Hmm.
to be Cody's first opponent, that's big. And think about it, this is Cody's first big title as a world champion. Because he was not world champion in AEW.
Hmm.
He was world champion in Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor meant something.
Yeah.
He was champion in other places, but he wasn't world champion.
Right.
This is his first big world championship of his career. And
Right.
mind you, Cody's only what 36, 35, or 37. He's
30.
like
Yeah, I think 36. Yeah.
he's still like in his prime. So it's like anyway, that was a cliche because he's a prime athlete.
Ha. I get it.
But yeah. So it's like I said, I hate this someone said they use the term flop. I'm like, it's been a month. Let it marinate. Let it keep going.
Hmm.
But that's why I want to get that topic out of the way because I think it's so dumb for them to think it's a flop after 1 month.
It is, and the flip side to that, for me, I think his title reign started off kind of, sort of. I want to say kind of, sort of dry because now grant the fact that he won the title at Mania. The
Mm-hmm.
next night he gave, the promo, his speech, all of that other stuff, and then on SmackDown we got the same exact thing. And usually, if we have a new champion or if we have a retaining champion, they'll defend it at least what, a week after Mania, probably. We haven't gotten that. So I think
Uh,
well, let me not say that. Let me not say let me take that back. He usually defends it at the next pay-per-view, but if you're a fighting champion like Cody is trying to portray, if you're a fighting champion, you'll defend it regularly. Now, back in the day with the Attitude Era, we had WWE Championship matches, what, like every 2 weeks?
just about it depends on the talent and who you had because at that time when Austin won it, he had maybe like he didn't have really a title like when he first won it.
Hmm.
His next title defense was against Do Love, and they had
Hmm.
that match. They had their match to like at Backlash,
Right.
and then like as times went by, they started having matches between him and then they had matches with Kane as well with him. So it's like it depends because you don't want to keep having a title match every week. It really doesn't make sense to
It
have a title
doesn't,
match.
but it doesn't, and I see your point. To me, I think having a title match every week does kind of, like, I guess you could say, lessen the value of the championship because we already know, like, it's like the title
I
change is
wouldn't say
not going to
that.
happen. Well, all right, not lessen, but it kind of takes away the
The Mystique.
there you go. That's the word I'm looking for. The mystique of the championship. Like, if you have a WWE championship match every week, the mystique is taken away as far as building up the number one contender for that championship. Now, again, like I said, back in the day, we had like people, like actual established stars like Rock, Austin, Triple H, Taker, Kane, all those other guys, and they would challenge for the championship like every 2 weeks or like every 3 weeks or whatever the case may be is. But now I think the vision is for like the main championships to be defended only at the pay-per-views because it gives enough time to build not only the champion but also the challenger. And I get that, but for me, I think it wouldn't necessarily hurt to have a WWE championship at least one time per televised show.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying because, like you said, the title. I mean, you gotta go back to the days of the '80s when they had the NWA when Ric Flair was world champion. He
Hmm.
didn't. He was there every week with the title. He made appearances here and there, but at the same time, he didn't have a title match like until maybe like you said, 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
With WWE, they have a PLE every month, damn near. So it's like they
Hmm.
have like a time frame where you can do a match at or do like an event. And
Hmm.
plus, they do live shows as well too. So he's defending the belts there. But for
Right.
TV purposes, I get what you're saying. But at the same time, like I said, the belt doesn't need to be defended like every 2 weeks unless it's a PLE. It doesn't have to be defended like a SmackDown every other week. It'd be
Right.
dope to have that. But like I said, I think with him being champion now, let's just keep the mystique of the day title as it pertains to him being a present champion.
Right.
Cause
Yeah.
we ain't had that. We haven't had that on SmackDown in a while. We had it
That's
on
true.
Raw with
That is true.
we had on we had it on Raw with Seth Rollins as world champion.
Hmm.
SmackDown was missing the champion. Roman wasn't there. Not saying it's Roman's fault, but Roman's not
Right.
there.
Right.
Now you have Cody, who's based. Like I said, this match I just had between Cody and AJ. This basically just showed you that this era we're in now with Cody as world champ, as daily champion, is a good era to go into right now.
Hmm.
Cause like I said, Cody is one of the top wrestlers right now in WWE.
Yeah.
Hell, you really can say in the world for real. He's like one of the top wrestlers in the world.
Yeah. That's true.
So like I said, Cody's title reign is not gonna be a flop. It's not a flop. It's not. Like I
It's too
said, this
soon to
match
even say it's a flop.
is too soon. That just say you're Roman. Just at this point, just say you're a Roman fan or you just not a fan of Cody's at this point. Just say that.
Right.
Because if you think this man's title reign is a flop just because he's not doing what Roman did or just because they're not doing a cinema thing, stop.
Right.
We don't have to have cinema. Granted, we love it, but not everything needs it. But before we get to new topics, like I said, the match was great between AJ and Cody. We had some
Yeah.
moves that was crazy. We had a burning hammer that he did on Cody.
Knocked him
Cody
clean out.
and Cody kicked out at one. Then of course we had that Cody cutter that was great. And like I said, the fans made the match more engagement. It gave the fans something to be hyped for. It gave them like something you can feel, you can cry about.
Hmm.
So, like I said, the match was great for Cody. Do I think the next match you're gonna have going to top this? Who knows? Because now we gotta figure out who's next.
I know he mentioned LA Knight, so
Yeah, but I know if he do LA, if he fight LA Knight. I mean, granted, it'd be dope to see, but that would be
mhm.
another match that LA Knight take on the L.
Yeah, that's and even like I said, even with that, it's like how would you? I mean, I'm pretty sure they would know how to build a match like that. But this goes back to what I'm saying as far as um the title being defended on a televised show. Now, if they go that route, yes, he's going to take the L, but at the same time, it gives us something to look forward to because it's like we know how talented LA Knight is. We know
Hmm.
how talented Cody is. And if we have that as far as a televised show like a SmackDown,
Yeah.
ratings, I'm not going to say ratings going to go through the roof, but it's going to definitely have viewers like, yo, LA Knight might do it. Cody might retain or whatever the case is, that fan interaction is going to be there.
It's all about the
Now,
demos.
oh yeah, for sure. Now, as far as like again to your point, keeping the mystique as far as defending it on the PLEs. If you go that route, I mean, yeah, I feel like to me, if we have the mystique of the championship and we build it towards that said PLE, as far as Cody Rhodes and LA Knight, we
Hmm.
already know the outcome. As opposed to a televised show, we may not know the outcome because it came out of nowhere.
That is
And
true.
so that's why I said for me, I think we could have the mystique of the championship. Just give us one per televised show, like a month or something. And that's the same thing again to your point with the World Heavyweight Championship when Seth had it, and he was the workhorse champion, quote unquote, and he would give opportunities to Jay Uso, to Shinsuke, to whoever he felt as though deserved it. I feel like Cody's going to do the same thing. The only difference is that Cody is not the type of guy, in my opinion, that's going to be the guy that says, "Oh, I'm going to defend my championship tonight. Who's going to step up?" I think he's the type of guy that is going to allow to have the challengers come to him.
Yeah, I can see that.
And even I think it was either Bubba or Taker that said Cody is more like the traditional WWE superstar where he dresses the part, he acts the part. The only difference is he doesn't just give out opportunities. If you notice,
Hmm.
like Carmelo Hayes got drafted to SmackDown. Carmelo said, "All right,
First
listen,
night, yeah, shoot my shot.
I'm gonna shoot my shot." And to Cody's credit, he could have said, "Nah, it's too soon," but the challenger came to him and he accepted that. And
Hmm.
I think that's what is going to make Cody's reign better is if more challengers step up to him, um, opposed to Carmelo Hayes doing it. And I think is going to keep that mystique of the championship alive as opposed to how Roman did it. So that like I said, for me, I just want to see more people step up because with Cody as champion, it gives a different feel as far as the breath of fresh air that I referred to as far as Roman losing the championship because Roman was the guy that put people over, but he made it known that he is here to run the show.
Hmm.
He's always going to be the guy. He's always going to be the tribal chief, head of the table, all of that other stuff. And that people don't want to see him lose the championship due to business deals or whatever the case may be is. Like I said, Cody on the other hand, he's the opposite direction of it, but more people have to step up in order to prove themselves worthy to be across the ring from the WWE champion or World Heavyweight
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, um, with Cody, like I said, the Rams are gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Everything you just said is very true,
champion.
and I agree 100% with the situation. Like you said with Carmelo, like he challenged them, and Cody accepted.
Hmm.
And you said Bubba or Undertaker says traditional. I think it was Taker that said it.
Yeah,
And
I'm. That's yeah. I think Taker. Yeah, and Taker spot on with it because, like, again, even with Taker as champion. when Taker was champ, he didn't give the opportunity. He didn't say, "Oh, I'm doing an open challenge." Those
No, he didn't.
people, those people that stepped up, and the biggest surprise to me that stepped up was the match he had with Rey Mysterio.
You know what's funny about Taker though, with his reigns as champion? He hadn't felt that much.
He didn't.
I think he said it himself recently on his podcast that he has on YouTube. He said the mystique of the Undertaker didn't need a title, which is true.
Hmm.
Because you think about his character was so like perplexed. It was like so over. You
Hmm.
didn't put you didn't need to have him have the title.
Exactly.
But yeah, but everything you said about Cody, I do agree with. Because like you say, I mean, it's the title. It's like he got to make the title prestigious. Not saying he's
Hmm.
not doing that now, but like you were saying, like if he has like matches depending on with like LA Knight or Carmelo again, or Bobby Lashley or a
Hmm.
Logan Paul, which will probably happen soon. I
Yeah.
honestly think you heard this first. At SummerSlam, gonna be in Cleveland. I guarantee you they're gonna make a match between Logan and Cody for that championship. I
Now,
honestly see that match happening.
I also see that happening. Now that begs the question: if that happens, will he be U.S. champ by then?
I don't think he'll be U.S. champion at that time. I think he'll lose that belt probably at Money in the Bank.
I All right. Now you say Money in the Bank. I feel like he's gonna lose it. I'm gonna go on a gamble here and say he's gonna lose it at um. I'm gonna go Saudi.
What King Queen in the Ring?
I think he's gonna lose it at Saudi. If he's booked in a match to defend it, he
It's possible.
depending on who he faces, he might lose it at Saudi. Now, if he makes it to SummerSlam with the title, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, it
Champion
would be.
versus champion.
Mm-hmm. But I
That
think,
would
like I
be
said,
interesting.
I think he'll lose it at Money in the Bank. It's gonna be in Toronto, so it's like I think he'll
Okay.
lose it there possibly. But we'll see. Cause like I said, I really honestly think at SummerSlam it's gonna be Cody versus Logan Paul for the WWE Championship, which is hard to say, but it's like it makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so we got two topics out the way. We're on a good run. We've been on here for an hour. We got two more topics to talk about, and we're gonna talk one. We're gonna talk about this AEW one like real quick.
Hmm.
Cause I want to get into WCW stuff.
Cool.
That way we can get out of here. We don't have to go overboard overtime a little bit. All right, so let's talk about this AEW video. Now, the video we're talking about is the video that they decided to show of CM Punk and Jack Perry situation at All In from a year ago, where CM Punk basically was just like pushing and basically like I think choking Jack Perry. If I'm not
Hmm.
mistaken. So we had that situation, and that entire video was like everybody was talking about it, saying they shouldn't have showed this. What was the point of this? Here's the thing: since showing that video, it has built a story for Jack Perry. Granted, it showed Jack Perry is really fragile as hell. One, well, frail, not fragile. He's frail. Cause ain't no grown man gonna really pull me in like that and choke me and try to fight me like that with ease.
Right. Right.
But yeah, so the video helped Jack Perry a little bit though,
Hmm.
because one, they had the little segment on AEW Dynamite where he came out and talked to the fans, and he called out Tony Khan. Next thing you know, he punches Tony Khan. Tony Khan oversells. He's terrible at it. He tried to sell the punch like he just like, literally like he's like one of those like hit like things like, and then
Just let that roll.
yeah, he did one of those things, and then then here comes Okada, and then the Young Bucks coming out. Next thing you know, we get a whole was it Tony Driver, I think it was called, a
Hmm.
TK Driver. We
Yep.
get that, and then we get Tony Khan in a neck brace on NFL Draft Day. It helped them out. It helped them out. Then this past Wednesday, we
Hmm.
get Kenny Omega back. 'Cause, you know, Kenny he's been out with a serious condition,
Right.
so he's coming back.
Hmm.
Well, not he's not coming back for the in ring competition.
Hmm.
Not that I know of, but who knows? But he came back this past Wednesday, and you know they then Okada comes out talking his trash, and then that's when Jack Perry comes from behind and jump him. They
Hmm.
both start fighting him. Kenny was put up a fight. The thing is, Kenny, his situation is if he gets hit in the stomach, if he gets ruptured in the stomach or anything, that can be bad on his like body. So they're going back and forth. You see Kenny doing the V trigger to him and everything, and
Hmm.
all that. And next thing you know, Okada stops him, and next thing you know, we get Jack Perry with a chair right into Kenny's stomach. Then we get the Bucks coming out. They did their EVP trigger to Kenny. So it's
Yep.
like that video alone is basically helping AEW out for with Jack Perry now.
Hmm.
'Cause like I said, the video didn't really need to be shown, but at the same time, it's helping them. Granted, AEW still gotta like do what they gotta do, but at the same time, it's like, come on now, something will need to be shown. But them doing that video, that whole segment, it helped them. I was one of those people that said this needed to be shown. It really didn't need to be shown at all. What was the purpose of this?
Yeah.
They're basically helping another guy out who's in the rivalry company of you who you're going against.
Hmm.
They're basically pulling a WCW if you think about it, but luckily they're not. Because if they was doing the whole WCW, they would the Fear Poker Doom.
I I got mixed emotions on that video from uh in AEW, and I think um for the most part, to piggyback on what you were saying, as far as it helping them, and to a degree, it helps them because it gave them I guess you could say the viewership in a way.
It actually didn't.
Uh, like it,
Because the
I
view,
mean,
because they announced the demos and the views, they shit was low.
yeah, yeah, that is true.
But like,
That
if
is
you watch the product every week and you watch it and all that stuff, like I do, it like I said at first, I was like, okay, they didn't show the video because it's like you're helping CM Punk more than anything.
true. Hmm.
But for them to jump Tony Khan and Kenny Omega, the video helped.
Yeah, and again, I think overall, it's one of those situations where, for me, in that whole entire video, it just showed that CM Punk is not the guy that AEW portrayed him to be,
Oh yeah,
and it kind of pisses me off to where it's like, all right, this situation alone with between Jack Perry and CM Punk, we've known CM Punk to be the guy that loves wrestling,
yeah.
but
But to piggyback
but
off of that before you finish,
yeah,
piggyback off of that. We also got to remember something. CM Punk could be a prick too.
that's where I was going to take it to. So
Yeah,
it's
go
like
ahead.
he loves wrestling, but I think his approach to things may not be agreeable all the time.
I agree.
Now, now grant the fact, grant the fact that his intent was probably in a good place, but I think, like I said, again, his approach was kind of unnecessary. Now the on the other side of that, back to the whole AEW even showing the video, I think that should have been kept for like one of their one of their podcast shows. I think what was it called? Unrestricted or something like that.
I think it's. I know what you're talking about. It comes on YouTube because they still have the show going to this day. But I know
Yeah,
what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah. It
But
should have been it should have been saved for one of those shows because although although what happened was completely fucked up,
it
that
started
could
off bad. It really started off a collision though. That's where it started at.
and yeah, yeah, yeah. And that whole thing and then on top of that, it could have been built a whole different way as opposed to just doing it on Dynamite the way they presented it. Like you gotta think the presentation of it wasn't, in my opinion, wasn't the right way to go. I think they should have just built that situation, built them to show that video footage a little differently as opposed to just saying, all right, boom, here we go. Because then that could hinder it could both hurt and hinder you. Well, help and hinder you, rather, um, towards whatever storyline, whatever business decisions, whatever later on down the line, because now have to look closely at the AEW locker room and who they have now. And all those people that was in that video, outside of Punk and Perry, you got Samoa Joe that was back there. You had Tony Khan that was back.
He was in the gorilla position. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that questions is the AEW locker room um what's the word I'm looking for? Is the AEW locker room a safe environment to even work? That
Um.
that raises the question. I'm not saying that that's the question for this particular situation, but you got to think from the outside looking in. Based on that alone, you question the locker room, you question the superstars, you question the management, you question Tony Khan. So I get the fact that you're saying it helps them. On the flip side of that same coin, it hurts them because, of course, business is business. And at the end of the day, if WWE was to do that from when Punk did his thing, that whole pipe bomb thing, if
But
any
yeah.
video if any video footage of that was to be presented on WWE TV, who knows where WWE will be right now?
Yeah. Think about it too. At that time, when Punk did the pipe bomb thing on WWE, that was Vince basically telling him go out there and just talk.
Mm-hmm.
That was a go. That was a give and
Absolutely. Yeah.
go. This
Yeah.
video they just showed for AEW, it was a go as well, but at the same time, it's coming off of what Punk did the week before in the interview.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, you're showing that video that Punk was talking about what occurred that day. Because in that video, you see Samoa Joe, you
Mm-hmm.
see Tony Khan in the gorilla position, you see
Mm-hmm.
Jack Perry talking his stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you see Chris Hero, you see Malachi Black, you see Hook all back there, all the stuff.
Yeah.
But like I said, the video is a video. To me, it shouldn't have been shown. Like, what are you
Mm-hmm.
trying to prove? But yeah, think about it though. I think Punk and the Bucks and they got heat price still after they first
Yeah.
fight in Chicago.
Yeah.
So it's like, so it's like, as long as you have EVPs that are your talent, like I said, if you're an EVP, you can't, do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they're it's like a give and go because the Bucks they always been controversial.
Always.
They always been a
Always.
controversial tag team since their Japan days.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they always been like that. They always want that drama. They want that like shock value.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta think about it. This is the same group they got wrestling moves named after wrestling reporters. The Meltzer Driver, that's one of them.
Hmm.
Dave Meltzer, who's basically the quote unquote king of stuff, but he can be full of bullshit sometimes himself. So it's
Yeah,
like,
for sure. For sure.
But yeah, like I said with AEW, now, you were saying about CM Punk, with his situation is he wants to make money. He was
Can't blame
trying
him.
to help a he was trying to help AEW like build up with ticket sales and all that stuff. To
Hmm.
where Tony Khan, he wants to like Tony Khan wants the company to do good. I know he does. I believe it. He always talking about AEW firsthand. Now, granted, he was on NFL Network. He said the most dumbest shit ever I ever heard. This man literally was on NFL Network during the draft, promoting AEW, saying AEW is going against the big evil empire of WWE. He said AEW is Pepsi and WWE is Harvey Weinstein.
Wow.
He said this on NFL Network. The hostess was like, "Okay, let's switch. We gotta go out of this because it's too much."
Wow.
So I'm like, let me wrong. Like I said, I want AEW to do good. I want them to do great. But some things don't need to be done. But only thing why I said this is the only time I give him a pass because this video helped him out. Even though I think it shouldn't have been shown, it
Hmm.
helped him in the end. And like I said, CM Punk is doing his own thing now. Hopefully he's not in the WWE headquarters anymore because he was locked in there for 24 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So hopefully, like I said, let's just move on and do what you gotta do for both companies because we do not need AEW to go into WCW mode and fail.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Speaking of which, let's get to our last topic. Then we're gonna close this out. So this happened in 1999. It was January 4th, 1999. We was kids at the time, of course. It
Yep.
was the night the TV turned because on January 4th, 1999, Eric Bischoff had the idea of spoiling Mankind's WWE Championship win over The Rock because that match is already pre-taped.
Hmm.
And of course, you hear Tony Giovanni say, "Oh God, I'll put butts in the seats." Next thing you know, we get a match that was supposed to be produced on WCW of Hulk Hogan versus Kevin Nash for the World Heavyweight Championship
Hmm.
in the Georgia Dome with at least I think what 50,000 fans in that bitch.
Yep.
So of course we get the everybody basically just turned the channel because everybody was hoping Mankind win the belt over the Rock. Cause at the time Mankind was so over, they
Hmm.
wanted him to see beat the Rock for the championship, which he did, which is a good pop.
Yep.
But in the hindsight, WCW kind of made a mistake because if you watch, it's a show called I don't know if you watch it or not. The show called WWE Most Wanted Treasures.
Hmm.
They had a WCW episode, and they were talking about Kevin Nash was basically talking about how he had a singlet. One of the singlets he had on is a part of history because he joked around and said that singlet is the reason why WCW is dead
Wow.
because the finger poke of doom.
Mm.
Because that match alone was supposed to be, like I said, Kevin Nash was hot at that time. He was like the hottest thing going on WCW. He
Yeah.
was world champion. He just beat Goldberg. He just beat Goldberg, who was undefeated for about a year.
Hmm.
So for him to do, and then it was fascinating too because Kevin Nash was talking about the contract situation too. Because this is gonna probably blow your mind. Hulk Hogan did a deal with a contract where he gets 20 grand a month for wearing the NWO shirt.
I'm not surprised by that.
But here's another thing. He gets 100 and I think $50 per DM.
Jesus.
That the con. This is the point. I give Hogan credit for him to do that contract. You're making bank.
Yes.
But the thing is, though, and then they were talking to Eric Bischoff in the episode how he said he wanted to take that match away from the fans, not knowing when you did that, you pissed a lot of fans off
Yes,
because
absolutely.
a lot of fans wanted to see that match between Hogan and Nash. Now, granted, they got the match later on down the line, but it's like Hogan was not in NWO no more. Nash was doing his own thing, so like it
Hmm.
didn't make sense.
Right.
But like I said, when they did that match, and like I said, it was the same night as the night Mankind won his world championship against The Rock.
Hmm.
That's when the gears shifted. That's when WCW just went downhill. When I say downhill, I mean downhill.
Yep.
Because not only did you have Kevin Nash as a booker, he was not a good booker. I love Kevin Nash, but he was not a good booker at all. They did segments where they threw championships in the trash. They did a whole segment where they tried to get the NWO back together with a new rendition of it with Bret Hart, Jeff
Hmm.
Jarrett, and the Outsiders, which didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Then you had a situation with Hogan. He went back to the gray and yellow, which was a good pop, but it's like,
Hmm.
come on now, we don't need this again. Then they try to have Scott Hall involved with a lot of stuff, but Scott Hall was going down his bad road at the time, so it was a
Hmm.
lot on him. And then on top of that, they tried to do the whole New Blood situation with Vince Russo. Russo, like I said, Russo wanted to have the younger talent involved more instead of having the older talent, like the DDPs, the Lex Lugers, the Hulk Hogan's, the
Hmm.
Stings,
Hmm.
the Sid Vicious, like all that. He wants it all like just be young people. Sadly, like I said, the contracts that these wrestlers had were so like you couldn't take them away from them because, like I said, Hogan's contract alone was crazy. Ric Flair's contract was crazy.
Hmm.
It's like every wrestler on that show. Cause think about it, when WCW was purchased by WWE in 2001, you
Hmm.
notice we didn't get none of the top stars in that deal.
Right. Right.
We didn't get Nash, Hogan, and Hall until the following year.
Right.
We didn't get Goldberg until 2 years from this, or no, three.
Hmm.
We never got Sting at all. Sting came in 2014, but he came late.
Yeah.
We didn't get Alex Luger because we already had Luger before WWE, but it is what it is.
Hmm.
We didn't get a lot of the wrestlers that was supposed to come over. Cause think about that remember that Alliance situation? The
Hmm.
Alliance didn't have a big star. It was just Booker T. That was it.
Yeah, that was about it. Yeah.
Cause we didn't get it. Cause like I said, a lot of wrestlers that was on contract with ACW, that their contracts run out and then they were done.
Hmm.
They wasn't gonna come to WWE because they knew they came to WWE, they were gonna be at the work. That's the thing. WCW gave them a lighter work schedule.
Hmm.
Cause remember, like I said, like everybody that was next to me came late. Goldberg came late. Scott Steiner came late. Sting came late. NWO came late. It was like they all took their time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But WCW, they had good days. Like I said, when that finger poke of doom happened, that's when it just went down the toilet, and it was like you basically just ruined your company.
Absolutely.
And they
Absolutely.
was on a, and the thing is, they was on a run. They was always on a run from '97 to late '98. They was controlling the ratings. They was controlling the demos.
Yep.
They was putting on matches that everybody wanted to see. They was putting on stuff that we love to see. Now,
Yep.
granted, they had some booking stuff here or there, but they
Hmm.
still put on a good product. Like I said, it was just that one night in January 4th, 1999. That's
That killed
that's that's
everything.
that's the day the remote changed the channel.
Yep. Yep.
But you being a WCW guy, what was your take on the whole dying WCW with the finger poke of doom?
It confused me as a kid because at first it was like watching a realistic cartoon in sports form. Like it was the wackiest thing ever. And to see that, like, just even on Peacock, when you binge watching Nitro, you see like, all right, this was a banger, this was a banger, this was a banger, this was a banger. And I think, to me, honestly, the finger poke of Doom did it, but I think what really killed WCW was taking Eric Bischoff off of the, I guess you could say, presidential board, as they like to call it,
I
when he
think he
was
was still
actually,
on. I think he was still on the board at the time. I think
yeah, well, it's hit or miss because I guess according to my memory, he left when Vince Russo was coming in.
he was no, he was still there when Russell came in. He was like there, but it's like later down the line he left
Right, you know what?
because
You're right. Yes, you're right. I forgot.
because
He
he
did.
was because
Yeah, he was
yeah
still around. Yeah, yeah.
because Bischoff was still on camera as a character. He was still a part of that stuff, but behind the scenes, creative wise, that was Vince Russo.
And then to have the mind of Eric Bischoff running WCW, nothing but enjoyable TV, whether it was realistic or it was scripted. It was nothing but pure entertainment.
This is what I would say about that time with WCW.
Hmm.
The best years WCW was the ending. Like I said, when soon as Scott Hall debuted,
Hmm.
that's when the stuff shifted. That's when everything was like, wait a minute, he's supposed to be at WWE. At the time it was
Right.
called WWF, but it's E.
Right.
So he was, yeah. Think about it. He came over there talking about, you want a war, you're gonna get one.
Hmm.
Then he brings in Nash,
Hmm.
who's also a WWE guy. And the funny thing is, Nash said both their contracts expired 6 days apart.
How about that?
So it's like Scott Hall already knew where he was going. And for Eric Bischoff to bring in Hall was a big deal.
Hell of a big
And
deal.
then you bring in Nash too, and then they said they got a third guy. And what's funny is Eric Bischoff also said this. He was talking to Booker T about this. He said he had spoke to Hogan talking about, because Hogan had brought Eric Bischoff, I guess, to where he was living at the time, to Florida, just to
Hmm.
talk and everything. Hogan asked him, "Who's the third guy?" And then Bischoff asked Hogan, "Who should be the third guy, Hogan?" And he said, "You're looking at him, brother." Next thing you know, everything is their history. Because think about it, that night at Bash at the Beach, when
Hmm.
Hogan turned heel, that was arguably the biggest thing that put WCW on the map, TV wise. Because
Absolutely.
To see Hulk Hogan as a heel is something totally different. What's
Absolutely.
funny is Hogan said this too. Hogan was on the show. He was talking. And he said he wanted to turn heel at losing the Ultimate Warrior. He wanted to be a heel. Thing is, Vince was like, you can't be a heel. But if you think about it, before Vince took over for WWE, when his dad was running it, Hogan was a heel. Hogan was a bad guy.
He was. He was. Now,
So could you? I'm sorry about that. So could you imagine after that match between him and Ultimate Warrior? Could you imagine if Hogan would have turned around and beat up on Ultimate Warrior after the match? That would have literally just made WWE just the best programming stuff ever. Like
hmm,
WCW probably wouldn't even be like the competition at the time, depending on
hmm,
how it will happen. Like I said, it's a blessing and a curse. for him to be face at WWF for so long, leave WWE, go to WCW. He was a red and yellow over there for a little bit.
Hmm.
Then Bash at the Beach comes. He signs with Nash and Hall. And the event yesterday had between the three was so great.
It was the chef's kiss.
Yes. So but like I said, their best run was the end of 96, 97, and the ending of 98. That was their run.
Hmm.
Like I said, once January 4th happened, that's when it stopped.
Yeah, yeah. I,
But yeah, but it's so amazing to hear the stories of like what contracts they had, who had power, who gave this idea, who did what.
hmm
And then it's like, man, if WCW was still here to this day, how it would be if we don't know.
Well, listen,
It wouldn't be
I
AEW.
it definitely wouldn't be AEW. In fact, if we think about it, in fact, I do you one even better. If WCW was still here, we wouldn't have TNA, wouldn't have
Yep.
AEW, we wouldn't have half of the I guess you could say half of the promotions that we have going right now
Now,
because it's like WCW was the I guess you could say it was the southern rival of WWE basically.
it was basically Pepsi versus Coca Cola.
It
It was basically McDonald's versus Burger King. It was
hmm
basically Dodge versus Ford. It was all that.
it was all of that. And like I said with WCW, they had the biggest like oh god, the biggest marketing anybody could possibly have. First of all, WWE now will never have a Monday Night Raw in the Georgia Dome.
Oh yeah.
They will never have a Friday Night SmackDown inside inside of any type of arena that holds 30,000 plus.
Well, they doing that now. Cause think about it, Royal Rumble was in the I think that was in the big stadium. If I'm not mistaken.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
could be wrong. I could be wrong.
That's what I'm saying. It's only because of the pay-per-view the
Show.
next day. You know what I'm
But you're
saying?
just talking about an ordinary show that doesn't involve pay per view. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, cause
Cause
like
yeah, cause at the time, yeah, WCW was doing that whole situation where they did a whole Nitro at the Georgia Dome.
and that was huge. That was like anytime they're in the Georgia Dome, that was biggest, their biggest shows, especially like, and I
When
think
Goldberg won, that
when
was
Goldberg, yup, when Goldberg won, when they had, I think it was after the Starcade, they had the when I think it was when um when they was just rolling in 1998 after that whole
Sting and
Starcade,
Hogan
yeah, that whole
97.
Starcade
Yeah,
debacle, they was really starting to like they was
yeah, that
on to
was
something. If
yeah.
they kept that going, if they kept that going, that would have been perfect. But
Yeah,
WCW was making
backstage
some
situations. Yeah,
dude, they was making some major moves that you wouldn't think a company like that. Plus, at the time, WCW was just coming out of the whole Crockett era, and they was
yeah,
starting
yeah.
that whole
Crockett
yeah.
had sold it to Eric Bischoff in like
hmm
late 95, 96.
hmm So they was coming out of that whole era, and then on top of that, like I said, to see where Eric Bischoff was taking that company to, mind you, also this was at the same time when Paul Heyman was running ECW.
We had three companies that was doing their thing and it gave competition. Just like only thing like I said was ECW situation was I think it was a money situation
That's
because they
all it
couldn't really
was.
pay. It was all it was. WCW situation was they didn't play their cards right and they messed it up.
Creativity.
creativity gave people too much power, and then on top of
Hmm.
that, people was trying to basically dictate how who should win.
Exactly.
But yeah, like I said, I know the show is supposed to be debuting soon on Vice, though, it's because it's directed. Well, actually, it's produced it by your guy, Dwayne Johnson. He's producing the show.
Which I find funny. It's like, dude, what
But
do
what's
you
funny?
know?
But here's the thing, though. He got Hogan on it. He got Nash, Booker
Hmm.
T, Medusa. I think Jeff Jarrett. I think Russo as well, and Bischoff. Rick Flair is pissed off at it because they asked him, which is kind of I can understand why I can
Yeah, I could
understand why
definitely
he's
understand
pissed.
because he was a major part of WCW as well.
He was the main starter. He was the guy.
Yeah.
But I know he's supposed to do an interview on Busted Open Radio tomorrow
Hmm.
about it.
Oh
So like
yeah,
I
he's gonna
said,
be pissed. He's gonna be pissed.
I mean he's gonna talk, but he's gonna give his own his own take on it because
But
let's
you
be
know
real,
who else? You know who else should have been in that if they
Sting.
haven't asked him about it? Exactly.
I like I said, I think Sting is so humble. So it's like I think Sting is like one of those guys that's like, you know what, you don't have to ask me because it's like I went through it, I've been through it, I don't need to talk about it.
I mean, of
So
course. I
I
mean,
understand it.
Goldberg,
He's in it too. I
Sting.
think he's in it.
Yeah, Goldberg, Sting. You got Buff Bagwell. All of those cats.
Well, here's the thing: the Mount Rushmore in WCW alone is, to me, is Ric Flair,
Hmm.
Goldberg,
Hmm.
Sting,
Hmm.
and DDP. That's the Mount
Yep.
Rushmore.
Yep.
Granted, I know everybody gonna say about NWO, what about Hulk Hogan? I'm like, this is the thing. Those four that I just named were WCW. You can really replace Ric Flair if you want and put Booker T in there because all of them were all WC.
I was gonna
Because
say
you can,
Booker T is
cause
up there too.
all those four are WCW breaded. Because remember, Ric Flair had
Hmm.
left WCW and went to WWE, then came
Yep.
back.
Yep.
But like I said, it's not much more. It's Booker T, DDP,
Hmm.
Sting, Goldberg. Those are the core four.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we're being honest. Granted,
Yeah.
of course, everybody gonna put Hogan and Flair in there and all that. But it's like I said, like I said, Hogan was more known of WWE. Flair, he went back and forth, so I can't really put him on that Mount Rushmore like I want to.
Honestly, honestly, I give you my Mount Rushmore WCW. I give you, in fact, your Mount Rushmore, I would take and put two people as a replacement. Replace, I would replace Flair with Giant,
Oh, yeah, Paul White, yeah.
and I would replace, uh, even though I don't want to replace Booker T because he definitely was like, but then
Well,
again,
that's the thing. What
at the same time, I would replace Booker T with Bischoff.
what is I can see you say Bischoff, but here's my thing. I already replaced Flair with Booker T. Like I said, my four is Booker T, DDP, Sting, and Goldberg.
Right.
I can see you saying but Giant was like a big deal because like they're portraying him as Andre the Giant's son.
Hmm.
Bischoff, you can put him in that court. You put him in Mount Rushmore, but it's like he was booking the talent. He was making the show basically because
That's
like you got
true.
to think about it.
That is
He was
true.
because you got to think about it. He's the one that basically sold the show to Ted Turner and put it on their station and made it like a big deal. Because when it first started, the matches was like cheesy. It was kind of cheesy.
Hmm.
Their whole slogan was "Where the big boys play" and everything. Their first night of Nitro, you have a crossover with Lex Luger coming back to WCW, I had to be with WWE for a little bit. So it's like, I mean, I can see where you're going with that. But yeah, but like I said, I can't wait for the documentary to drop. 'Cause I want to watch it
I do too.
just to hear the wrestler side of the story.
Hmm.
It's funny that The Rock is producing it. It's still funny.
And and I know they're going to talk about Bash at the Beach 2000 too.
Oh God,
I know they're
that
going to
was
talk about it.
because that night alone. That's when like we didn't know what was going on because Vince Russo basically told Jarrett to go lay down and take the pin. Hogan didn't expect that. Hogan basically said, "This is why you're the reason why this place is in a shithole." Which I can understand. He's saying is true, but at the same time, like I said, everybody didn't want it was disagreements.
Hmm.
Now, granted, it helped Booker T.
Yeah.
It helped Booker T and helped Jeff Jarrett
Yeah.
because we got a match out of it. We got a main event match where Booker T
Hmm.
won the title.
Yep.
But anyway, let's get out of here, man, because we've been on here for about like an hour and some change.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And it's been a good talk with some of the stuff we talk about. So also, like I said, next week we're gonna have a guest. We're gonna have our closest friend that we know. Well, I knew him since kindergarten. So it's like we're gonna have him on our show. Our friend Rel. He's a wrestle
Hell
head like
yeah.
us.
We gonna
We
cut
all
up.
been watching wrestling all our kids. We're gonna come next week. It's gonna be fun as
We
hell.
gonna cut up.
Like I
I
said,
can't wait.
yeah, I can't wait either. But yeah, next week we're gonna talk about some more stuff. I think we're gonna talk about what's going on with Raw and SmackDown next week.
Hmm.
And like I said, I'll come up with the ideas. And like I said, if you want to be on the show or you want to bring a topic to us, like I said, our Instagrams are under our names. Mine is at fat double score hawk 54 on IG. His
Hmm.
is at Nova underscore check 31. That's his main one. Then on the side, I think that's his ASW one as well. Speaking
Yep.
of which, you have another show coming up?
Yes. So I know last week we said, well, I said that we had a show this we were supposed to have a show this past Saturday, but due to the weather, we couldn't do it. So we do have a show coming up, but when we get the final detail of when this show is supposed to happen, I will let you guys know, or just go to my Instagram and you will see um when the show will take place. If you're in the Philly area, come through. There's no ticket fee. There's no nothing. Just show up and be entertained. No questions.
Yeah, I'm gonna come. I've never been to one of your shows before, and like I said, maybe I'll come out and check out this one.
Oh yeah.
The only thing
Hell
I
yeah.
hope is, only thing is, I hope I don't be involved because I do not feel like dropping somebody on the head.
Listen, listen. If I reach out for the hot tag, you're more than welcome.
I'll think about it. Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. Like I said, this has been another episode of Minds of Mayhem. We'll be back next week with our special guest.
Oh. Uncle Howdy is hitting him. Oh. So ladies and gentlemen, next week our guy Ro will be on the show. And yeah, all of that other good stuff. So with that being said, that's Rome, or that was Rome. Is he coming back in? Well, that was Rome. I'm Nova Jones. We out of here.